Well, it couldn't be more embarrassing, could it? You're riding along and you throw your arms in the air, you let go of the handlebars, you celebrate the win, and then your seat breaks and your ass is on the ground, and then you find out as a guy up the road that had already won. Well, why would a seat break just at that point, and how come he didn't feel that it was something wrong before he actually sat up? It seems strange that a seat post would come loose and you wouldn't detect or something was going wrong. So let's roll that intro and let's have a little bit of a discussion about what could have actually happened here. Well, the guy in question is Eduard Paredes. If I'm saying that correctly, it's another Spaniard, so probably said a little bit different. And as you all know, you like to get in the comments and tell me how these names are all said. So get down there and give me the right pronunciation. Anyway, you really couldn't read about it, could you? You know, a guy believes he's just won the race. He's psychologically put himself and raced to the finish, puts his arms in the air, and just as he does that, the moment he takes his hands off the handlebars, the seat breaks, and you go, well, he was just riding a second ago. How come the seat didn't feel that there was something going on with the seat? Normally if some bolts come loose, you can feel it starting to get a bit wiggly, or you might feel it move or whatever. So it kind of mustn't have been something that wasn't done up tight or a screw or something that the mechanic did. It must have been a failure of either the carbon or the aluminium rails or whatever parts they're using on the seat or the seat post stem. It must have been fatigued and then it just broke, because he would have felt, those guys have got fantastic senses of their bike and feeling what their bike feels like, and he would have felt, hey, look, something's not quite right here, something's amiss, and he would have got it checked out as he was riding along by the mechanics. But he didn't. He was just riding, completely focused on the race. Then vroom, it just completely collapsed. And I would suspect that this would have been, it sounds to me like a carbon failure, because carbon tends to not give any warning. It fractures, and then there's a catastrophic failure. And that's how wheels fail as well. You tend to be just riding along, the frame breaks or the wheels break, and you go, what happened? And that is how carbon generally fails. It's unfortunate because it doesn't give you any warning like other materials do. Could this be an outcome of the bikes getting heavier and we're getting disc brakes on bike and we're getting electric gears on bikes, and the group sets have considerably gained some weight over the last 10 to 15 years, and they struggle to get the bikes down to 6.8 kilos. And we just had Gary Blim from Israel Startup talking about how the manufacturers need to get weight off other parts of the bikes. And we've also heard about the EPS technology. I've done a vid about that. I'll link it up the top here, about expanded polystyrene. And what they're doing is they're using different techniques so they can use yet less material in the frame, but get better compaction, so they're still getting the design strength that they need. And this could be also something that they're cutting corners on. Maybe he was using an ultralight seat post or something like that, a carbon seat post. And the carbon seat post had fatigued via the race, and it was made a little bit on the light side, or it had been used for a number of races, and the carbons were fatiguing and breaking, and all of a sudden we had a catastrophic failure right on the finish line. You wouldn't read about it. But I do think that they are getting a little bit sensitive to weight, and we've got a few people who are using the rim brakes in climbing stages to try and get that little bit more weight off the bike. So they're obviously thinking about weight. They're obviously concerned about weight, even though people might go, weight doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What's 300 grams? Just do a morning in the toilet and you've lost 300 grams. That may be so, but at this level, the guys maintain their weight. They have strict diets and their weight is strictly controlled. So 300 grams to them is not 300 grams to us. It's not like, I've probably got 300 grams here. Sorry, 3,000 grams here, not 300. So they have a strict regime to maintain their weight. And when they have 300 grams on their bike, they're like, hey man, that's like another water bottle. I want to get that off my bike. So they could be trying different things and maybe using lighter seat posts. This could have been a prototype or one that was made using a different technology, maybe the EPS technology, trying to get that seat post thinner. So in conclusion, there's not much information coming out about these seat posters, and we tend to not get much information when there's a failure. It was the same in the Paris-Roubaix when the wheels failed. They kind of become very, very tight-lipped. So we don't really know, and we probably will never know, because they don't like to talk about component failures. But in this situation, I would be pretty certain it wasn't something coming loose. It was, and it probably wouldn't be something with the seat or the metal fatiguing, because he probably would have felt that. It probably would have given him a warning. But the seat post or carbon, they just fail. And I would probably say whatever the part was on that seat post, it probably was a carbon piece and it just failed catastrophically when it gets to that bathtub point or that cliff point on the graph where it just drops off. Well, anyway, guys, leave your comments down below. What do you think could have caused a seat post failure? Do you think it may be a catastrophic failure, a design issue? They're trying something a little bit, out there, a little bit lighter than they should be to get the weight down. Anybody get on the information? I couldn't find much about it, but it was a funny situation, the fact he put his hands in the air, right, which was bad enough, a bit of an embarrassment. But then at that specific moment, as he crossed the line, the seat just gave way. You just wouldn't read about it. I feel a bit sorry for the guy, but it's still pretty funny. Anyway, guys, you know what I'm going to say now. Smash that like button and subscribe down below, and I will see you next vid. Cheers.